this lesson, you will be describing, explaining, and evaluating the performance from a design point of view. Your first task is to select a scene from the production. This must be different from the scene chosen for question 1 when you looked at performance from an acting point of view. Top tip: make sure that you choose a scene that has a lot of set design elements to discuss in your answer. For example, you could choose the opening scene. There are a number of changes within the first few minutes of the play starting. Initially, we are presented with a proscenium arch stage with an apron that extends out into the audience and a backdrop which is decorated in red with pale leaves. As Anna and Elsa enter, we see the 3 doors positioned upstage centre cascade down onto the acting area. When the opening song begins, Anna and Elsa begin singing. Snowflakes start to fall down onto the acting area within the arch. As the song continues, we see snowy mountaintops entering the acting backstage and downstage left and right, which depicts a snowy environment. Once you've chosen your scene, you are ready to start answering questions 6 to 9. Question 6. This question is worth 5 marks. You should aim to write 3 to 5 lines, spending 5 to 10 minutes on this. The question is: choose one scene from the performance that you saw. Describe what happens in the scene. You must choose a different scene from the one chosen for question 1. You can use the following sentence starters if you want to. I watched a performance of, in my chosen scene. Here's an example of how to structure your answer. I watched a performance of Cinderella. In my chosen scene, Cinderella is cleaning the house, while the ugly sisters are sat down watching TV and finding out that the prince will be visiting the homes of all female guests who attended the royal ball in order to find the girl who left behind the glass slipper. The ugly sisters find out that the prince intends to marry the girl who fits the shoe. This makes me feel very optimistic for Cinderella, as she will finally be free of her wretched sisters and her evil stepmother. In the example, you can see that I have given 5 different points which describe what happens in the scene. I have used 5 points as the marks are worth 5. Question 7. This question is worth 10 marks. You should aim to write 7 to 10 lines, spending 10 to 15 minutes. Question 7. Explain the setting of your scene. You can use the following sentence starters if you want to. My chosen scene was set in or at a. The stage configuration was used. Stage configuration refers to the type of stage. For example, proscenium arch, theatre in the round, end on, etc. The atmosphere of the scene was: the set on the stage included, though something was positioned somewhere. So here you were talking about the item of furniture and saying where it is positioned on stage. Remember, downstage is nearest the audience, upstage is near the backdrop, and stage left is from the actor's point of view. So it will appear to be on your right. The colour of the material of the condition of the. Here is an example of how to structure your answer for question 7. My chosen scene was set inside the house where Cinderella and the ugly sisters live. On one half of the stage is a living room space, whilst the other half is a kitchen with a staircase in the middle. The staging configuration for this scene is a proscenium arch with a gold picture frame and red velvet curtains framing the scenes. The atmosphere of the scene is very optimistic with bright lights and bold colours. The set included a large floral sofa in a good condition centre left, which consisted of pinks, reds and greens made with a cotton material. A large oak coffee table positioned in front of the sofa towards downstage with a table to the right side with a TV on it. The right-hand side of the stage had a backdrop of a kitchen with a freestanding table in the centre right, which had a number of pots and pans on it. The condition of the kitchen seemed to be well organised, as you could imagine that Cinderella had stacked the pots and pans in an orderly fashion, and a large mop and bucket lent by the doorway stage right. Question 8. This question is worth 10 marks. You should aim to write 7 to 10 lines, spending 10 to 15 minutes. Explain how the actors interacted with the set in the scene. Make sure you say what effect they had. Describe the use of at least 3 different ways the actors interacted with the set in your answer. Here you could discuss if they had contact with the set by standing, sitting, leaning, etc. and explain why you think the actor chose to do this, i.e., what does it tell the audience about the character's mood, relationships, etc. You can use the following sentence starter if you want to. When she said the line, insert line, he walked away from the insert the item of furniture to show, insert what you think the actor wanted to show. Here's an example of how to structure your answer for question 8. When Ugly Sister 1 said the line, "Have you seen the news that's been on the telly?" she entered from stage left and sat down on the sofa on the left-hand side and swung her feet upon the coffee table to show the audience that she was getting ready to sit down in front of the TV to watch the news, excited to hear about what's happening. When Ugly Sister 2 hears the prince is intending to marry the girl who fits the slipper, she leaps up from the sofa, hops over the coffee table and stands down stage centre and looks out to the audience as if it's a window and she's looking to see the prince arriving. When Cinderella hears the news, after listening in on the Ugly Sisters, she places the pot on the kitchen table, leans over it with her head held in her hands and looks out towards the audience with a beaming smile. After the doorbell rings, Cinderella grabs her mop and bucket and crosses over to the left-hand side of the stage and places the bucket in front of the coffee table before circling the sofa and cleaning the floor. This is to show the audience that she is curious to see what plays out between the prince and the Ugly Sisters, patiently waiting for her turn to try on the shoe. Question 9. This question is worth 5 marks. You should aim to write 3 to 5 lines, spending 5 to 10 minutes. Evaluate the success on the set. How did it make you feel? Did you think it was effective in showing mood or atmosphere or location? You can use the following sentence starter if you want to. I think the set was successful at communicating to the audience because. Here is an example of how to structure your answer. I think the set was successful at communicating the house where Cinderella and the Ugly Sisters lived to the audience because it showed the audience the 2 main areas of the house where the action takes place. The living room purposefully showed the level of status between the characters as there was only one sofa, meaning that Cinderella was forced to stand up throughout the entire performance. The sofa was also very bold in colour and communicated to the audience that the ugly sisters were loud characters. Furthermore, the kitchen area was stacked with pots and pans, which suggested to the audience that Cinderella was both orderly in her role as a servant of the house, as well as eclipsed by the workload as there were so many pots and pans. Here is a list of the keywords that you may use in your answers. I have included explanations for what each word means to help you.